Hey guys, so this is going to be a different video today. Today I thought I would talk about one of my favorite movies of all time and why I think it's criminally underrated. This video was inspired by John Campia's Why Man of Steel is the most underrated comic book movie of all time. So the format is going to be similar, but it's mostly going to be standalone. So without further ado, I want to talk about a film that doesn't really get a lot of love, and when it's talked about, it's mostly negative. And that movie is The Ant Bully. I'm Ethan St. Heinrich, and this is The Ant Bully, the most underrated animated masterpiece. So, I'm not going to get into the full history of this movie. I just want to go over a brief summary of how this movie came to be and what this movie is all about. So, The Ant Bully was made by DNA Productions, who did the show Jimmy Neutron and a movie called Santa Claus vs. the Snowman. This studio was not a major player like DreamWorks or Pixar, but they were looking to make a name for themselves in the animation landscape, and the movie that they would hope to bring them into the limelight would be The Ant Bully. They had already kind of had a major triumph with Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius back in 2001, but that was seen more as a TV thing and not really on par with animated films like Shrek or Toy Story.
So The Ant Bully was the first true attempt at making an animated blockbuster like Pixar or DreamWorks, but unfortunately it did not go well for DNA. The Ant Bully got mixed reviews on its initial release and became a box office bomb, resulting in the studio to shut down and Jimmy Neutron to be cancelled. And when it's not being trashed because of the cancellation of Jimmy Neutron, it's lumped in with all the other ant-related movies like A Bug's Life and Ants. But I'm here to tell you that this movie beats these two by a mile. Let's start with the story, and this is a common complaint with Ant Bully. The story has been done to death in many other animated movies, where a main character starts off as antagonistic, and when something bad happens to him, he learns to be good and save the day. And while I do agree that the story has been told many times, this movie tells in a more personal and effective way. The reason why the story is engaging is because the struggle that Lucas goes through is very relatable. You see, he's not a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. He's a kid that's struggling with accepting himself and dealing with people that oppress him, and the movie brilliantly couples that with how he treats the ants. He's acting out against it as a way to deal with his depression and insecurity, because when the parents are neglectful and he doesn't have any friends whatsoever, not even his own sister in his 18 age, where he's lost and doesn't know how to approach anything. The way this movie approaches this story and the way it develops its through lines is both compelling and impactful. Now in regards to the ants, the movie brilliantly couples the struggles of the ants with the struggles of Lucas, showing that he's becoming the person that bullies him and he might very well become as bad as him if he carries on, and that's where the ants come in. When they shrink Lucas, he gets the chance to see that what he's been doing has damaged the lives of so many people who are ants in this case, and if he wants to get back home he must change, or in this case become an ant. And it's at this point that where the story really kicks in. Every single character Lucas meets is integral to the character development and the eventual redemption of Lucas Nickel. First there's Hova. WHO is more of a mother figure to Lucas than a trainer, something he never really had in his human life. Someone WHO could be there for Lucas, listen to his problems and guide him to being the best person he could be. Then we meet Kreela. WHO is hesitant at first to teach Lucas but reluctantly agrees. She's the straight ant in the group. WHO isn't afraid to speak her mind. And last there's Fugax. WHO is the comic relief of the group and has a lot of the funniest moments of the movie. And all of them help Lucas to grow as both a person and an ant and show him WHO he can be. But the best and most underrated character of the entire movie is Zoc, voiced by Nicolas Cage, and without a doubt the most interesting character and most integral to Lucas' character arc and the entire plot of the movie. Zoc is the one that shrinks Lucas and brings him before the colony, the one that was affected the most by Lucas' destruction, the one that has the most beef with Lucas. But the brilliance of the movie is that Zoc isn't a perfect ant like you would think. Just like Shifu and Kung Fu Panda, he's got as much to learn about being an ant as Lucas does and goes through just as strong character development as Lucas does, showing that both characters are flawed and have room to improve. As Zoc finally understands humanity, Lucas' reasoning, and for the first time a human that when seeing the mistakes he's made ultimately regret it and wanting to improve. This all leads to a climax, where the ants and wasps have to work together to fight the villain of the movie, Stan Beals, This one of the best climaxes to a movie, which is both thrilling and exciting, the different places the characters end up during the final battle, the way the characters support each other and complete their arcs, and the way that the characters all play a role in defeating the villain and winning the day, followed by the ants celebrating their victory and Lucas finally becoming a member of the colony and winning his freedom to go home. Culminating with Lucas reuniting with his family, Zok and Hova becoming stronger as a couple, and Lucas feeding the colony instead of destroying it. The Ant Bully works on so many levels. While the animation isn't the strongest, especially with the humans, the designs of the ants are unique and really show you who these characters are. Like Zok's head is a wizard's hat and his backside is spiky, showing that has got an enthusiasm for magic but is rough around the edges. Hova's design is a lot more friendly and soft, showing that she's a very caring character and welcoming to everyone. Not only that, but the scope of everything is massive. The movie, as well as the animation's strongest aspect, is world building, from the colony to the areas in the garden to the inside of Lucas' house, as well as the concepts introduced in the movie like the magic Zok wields. If they ever make an Ant Bully sequel, they should focus more on the magic aspect, because there's so much you can do with this idea. There's so much to explore and expand in the Ant Bully universe. The mythos in this movie is on par with the mythos of Star Wars in the Lego movie. The score for the movie is honestly one of the best composed scores for any movie, from the opening score to the score of The Shrink. The battle against the Exterminator and the reprisal of the score from the opening are some of the most epic and brilliantly composed scores of all time. Every time a score plays, you're on the edge of your seat. And the biggest reason this movie works is the character arcs are so personal, relatable, and so compelling. And while I understand why the movie failed the way it did, I mean, when I went to see films in 2005 like Madagascar, Chicken Little and Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were Rabbit, and the trailer came on, I thought it was going to be bad. And when I watched it months later, I thought it was okay, but it had a lot of problems. But rewatching it years later, I began to see the brilliance hidden within this movie's generic premise, and saw it for the masterpiece that it truly is. This to me is on par with the Disney movies from the Renaissance era, as well as the Pixar masterpieces and DreamWorks classics like Shrek. This movie is not just another ant movie, it's a thrilling, impactful, life-changing experience. I highly recommend you check it out. It is one of the best examples of don't judge a book by its cover, or in this case, don't judge a movie by its premise. So that is why, in my opinion, the Ant Bully is the most underrated animated masterpiece of all time, and I just had to make this video cause no one seems to be talking about it. So anyway, what did you think of the Ant Bully? Have you seen it? Do you agree with me or disagree? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later.